Hello Pisces, welcome to Lotus Heart Tarot. I'm super happy to be joining you here. Let's dive in and take a look at your energies here. What messages Spirit has for you today. If you're new to my channel, welcome, welcome. These are general messages, so just take what resonates and leave the rest always. Okay, thank you also to all of my subscribers and to all of those of you who regularly comment, like, share on my videos. I deeply appreciate your support. Thank you, thank you. Spirit, what can you show us for Pisces today? What does Pisces need to know? What does Pisces need to know? Wow, okay, Pisces. I feel like you guys have someone coming in. I feel like this is a... this is an energy where you are attracting the vibration that you are. And so if you're not here yet, or you're not at the vibration you want to be, or, you know, you feel like you're, you know, kind of going through something, then don't worry about it. It's something that will come and can be moved toward. We're just trying to be the highest vibration version of ourselves that we can be in this moment to attract someone who's also in that energy. I see here you have dependability on the bottom of the deck. I think this has been a problem for you in the past, where, you know, maybe you haven't had people who have shown up for you, or you have been a very loyal companion, but you haven't found that in someone else. This person showing up is dependable. This person showing up has, like, what I feel like is the missing ingredient. Sorry, you guys. My husband, I'm pretty sure, turned out to have COVID. And I've just been running with a very mild version of it for days here, but my throat is really starting to get to me. Anyway, with this moderation, okay, this is like, it's an energy not of holding back or shutting down, but of allowing something to unfold, not pushing it hard forward either. Not getting carried away with the excitement of having met someone that you feel this way about, or that you see these qualities in. It's kind of a observe, you know, be patient and observe, like, who this person is. You know, I'm really getting this, like, the opposite of Neptune energy. It's like a very practical energy, you know, and Neptune is in retrograde in Pisces, I think. Neptune and Saturn, I think they're both in retrograde in Pisces, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not an astrologer, so don't quote me on it. But it is sort of that energy of, like, maybe this timing is right, so you can see something exactly as it is without putting some fantastical energy on it, without, you know, sort of reading between the lines and seeing someone as their highest and best self, even though they're not actually showing up in that energy. That's a beautiful gift that I hope you never lose if, you know, you have a tendency to do that. But it's just not a practical energy when you're starting out on what could be a very serious relationship, something where your heart is on the line, right? So I just see this energy of this person sitting back watching these two hummingbirds. And even though I feel like you're one of the hummingbirds, I also feel like you are the human watching, you know, the observer of it, just allowing it to unfold, you know, allowing the mystery to be revealed to you. It's that type of energy. And not needing to, like, dive all in or make something happen or see something that isn't there, but just to really relish with delight in what you do see, okay? What is really there. If you are struggling with your vibes, I can't say this enough, but focus on gratitude. Focus on the things that you do have in your life, or even the characteristics that you yourself possess that you're grateful for, and those things will be magnified. Those things, you will get more of that in your life, okay? It's the fastest way to raise your vibration, gratitude. Honest and sincere gratitude. Wow, Pisces, this is a big, big, big relationship. Big coming in. Wow. You know, you may have also struggled with someone who didn't make you a priority, or didn't make the connection or the relationship a priority in the past. You have priorities on the bottom of the deck, and I feel like the person that you're meeting, it's like this is their top priority. It may even be that they have worked to get their life situated in such a way to get it so that they could allow love to be their number one priority. They may have worked on themselves. They may have done some healing. They may have gotten a job. They may have bought a house. They may have done something pretty significant that was keeping them from feeling like they were ready in the past. They have taken care of it. It's like, I have nothing to focus on but this right now. You know what I mean? Or maybe they have other things to focus on, like their work or whatever, but this is my main priority. When you are someone's main priority, you feel it, you know it. It says on the card, you understand the paramount importance of manifesting love in all situations. Yeah, this person is looking for all the ways they can bring love into situations. Like, yeah, I mean, this person is ready. This is someone who is ready. Their calendar is clear for this, you know, like that's what I'm getting. This is someone who I think is seeking an actual commitment, and I think you are too, because there is a difference in the level of what you feel comfortable revealing and sharing when you know that there is some agreement between you. And I feel this is someone who is coming into this space of commitment with a lot of integrity. In other words, I feel like they have done the work to heal. They're ready to show up in a solid way. So it says you dedicate yourself to your beliefs wholeheartedly, knowing that love is the essence of your very being. Then you have purpose. So for some of you, you may meet this person at work. For some of you, this person may help you on your path. For some of you, you maybe have chosen your path and be really committed to your path and following your path, and that's when you meet this person. But this person is in some way, there is either a timing thing, or, you know, true love really, it does support the true character of the other. You know, we change and we evolve. I read this thing once where this man was like 100 or something, and he'd been married for like 75 years. And he was like, yeah, in that period, I was married to the same woman, but she was 8 different people, you know, because she had taken on all these different energies. And certainly I think my husband could say that about me. I've definitely changed dramatically in the last 28 years we've been married. But, you know, love, true unconditional love, loves every version of you, is excited about every version of you, is ready to greet and meet each new version of yourself. And I feel that energy here. And it says you possess the determination and dedication to consciously demonstrate love. And that is part of all of our purpose for being here, is to be part of this connected web in a loving, viable, supportive way. You have spontaneity. You move beyond the constraints of mind and freely and lovingly embrace new situations. you know, I think that this is just being open to receive, being open to discover, being open to get to know each other, being open to reveal things about ourselves that maybe we have never even told anyone else. Being ready to experience something new and something different, and to be free to really let ourselves fully embrace it. And not, you know, carry past burdens and not give to past situations that make us paranoid or skeptical about the current situation. It's interesting here, Pisces, because you have this energy of peace and this energy of breathe, and then you have this conflict and chaos energy, which is like the opposite of these two energies. And, you know, this is sort of telling me, you know, the wrong person finds you at a place of peace and takes you to a place of pieces. The right person finds you in a place of pieces and takes you to a place of peace. You know, and I feel there is this energy with chaos and conflict over, you know, past relationships where you've had to sort of sacrifice parts of yourself. You've had to be like, well, that's okay. I can be understanding. You've had to be accommodating. That's the word that I want. And when you start accommodating another person and you start letting their sort of misalignment or their toxicity or their unhealed wounds sort of drive the car, it gets you off your straight and narrow path. When you're dealing with someone who is healed, when you're dealing with someone who knows who they are, who isn't seeking validation outside themselves, whose motivation is pure, you can walk beside each other and walk a straight line that doesn't ask either of you really to sacrifice super important parts of yourself. You know, I know for like my husband's job, I've had to move a few times and not wanted to move, you know. I've had to make sacrifices like that, but that sacrifice is nothing compared to being able to walk next to my husband through life. You know what I mean? Like, I would gladly do it again and again and again and again and again for him, to be with him. That's not the kind of sacrifice I'm talking about. I'm talking about not getting your needs met, being with someone who's emotionally unavailable and needing some kind of reassurance and not being able to get it. That's when you start really sacrificing important, meaningful pieces of yourself. And you say, but I love them. And I know they love me even though they can't say it, even though they don't say it. You know, those are sacrifices that really do amount to something, and that kind of, in the end, can make us sort of challenge our sense of worth, you know, our sense of, you know, am I worth someone who is willing to say those things to me? Because I feel like I'm walking a tightrope right here. Because on the one hand, people evolve, people change, and people grow. And sometimes it's just not in our nature, in our natural state of being, to be an expressive person with our emotions. And maybe we haven't had a role model for it. But if we know our partner needs it, and we also love our partner, we make some attempt to give it to them in some way. And maybe we even sit down and have a conversation with, you know what, I'm not a big talker. I'm not a big expresser. I'm not a big, you know, somebody who's going to be like, yeah, I tell you I love you. It makes me really uncomfortable. It makes me feel very overwhelmed, whatever the case may be. But here's how I tell you that I love you. For me, like with my husband, he's not super expressive. He just didn't grow up in an expressive household. But I mean, I know with every fiber of my being, this man loves me. Like, he loves to drink fountain pop And so he stops at the gas station all the time to get fountain pop, and he'll always like get me something that's like my favorite thing of, you know, whatever, a drink, a candy, you know, like whatever. He'll always get me something, or a lottery ticket, or, you know, like, he's so cute. My friends are always like, oh my God, because they'll be here or they'll be on the phone with me or whatever, and he'll come home with something for me. He always comes home with things for me. But, and they're just small tokens, but it's like, you know, I was thinking of you. I didn't get something for myself and not get something for you. It's like, I know he's always thinking about me, and he's always trying to show me that. And so, yeah, he tells me he loves me like twice a year in a card. And that is enough for me because he shows me every single day. And I'd rather, actually, I have discovered over the years that I would really rather be with someone who shows me rather than tells me. So anyway, you know, I'm not talking about, you know, that kind of a situation where, you know, someone, they can't really use all the flowery words that you want to hear, or write you poetry, or write you song, or something like that. But they're showing up for you every day, you know, or, you know, something like that. And, you know, you're the only one that can decide if you can handle that or if you want to handle that. But sometimes, you know, those are challenges to grow. Those are challenges to calm ourselves with our own, you know, thinking, our own, you know, like I will tell myself, well, I don't have to now, but in the beginning I would say, oh no, he totally loves me, he just brought that for me, or he called me to tell me this, or he, you know, like things like that. But either your needs are getting met or they're not. And when they're not, and you keep sacrificing it, and you keep sacrificing it, and you keep sacrificing it, you are sacrificing meaningful pieces of yourself. You're sacrificing things that can, in the end, make you ask, why was I so willing to sacrifice those things? Did I think that I didn't deserve more? Did I think that I wasn't worth more? You got to ask yourself, you know, those kinds of questions. But I feel like with this new thing, you know, on the peace card, you have this egg. It's kind of like, I'm at a place of peace. I never feel this sense of chaos or conflict within myself about this relationship. I'm not constantly talking myself off a ledge. You know, if your needs are being met, whether they're being met the way you think you want them met or not, you are, you're at peace. You're not feeling like things are missing, or like you're having to make up the difference, or that you're having to overgive to balance out a situation or to kind of make it okay. With this Breathe card, there is this energy. It's, again, it's kind of like this moderation energy. It's an energy of just like allowing everything to sort of unfold, and just holding on to this space of peace and calm, and noticing it, observing it. It's really not even observing the other person. It's observing yourself and how you feel in the situation. If you don't feel like you're standing on the edge of a cliff the whole time, or you don't feel like you're scared to death the whole time, then that is meaningful. That means something. I feel just this energy of letting something come together, letting something unfold and letting it come together. All right, let's dive into the tarot. Okay, Pisces, this is talking to me again about this chaos and conflict card. So I don't know what this is. I feel like this has been like a little, you know, a background information in every reading for a while now, especially when we're talking about getting together with another person. There's this energy of, you know, having dealt with people who left you and were worse off than you were when you met them. You have this High Priestess, Two of Wands, Lovers energy. And you have the Magician and the Devil. And when the Magician and the Devil come out together, that's not good. You know, that's someone who... It's almost like they're trying to entrap you with an idea or an illusion. They're trying to get you stuck and obsessed with them with an illusion, with something that's not even real, with something that they really don't even have to offer you. Or they're not willing to offer you. And this, I feel like, is these past situations that have created chaos and conflict within you. Where it's like there's two sides fighting. You know, it's kind of like, I know I deserve better than this. But, you know, I feel like I'm falling in love with this person, or there's no one better. There's no better prospect right now than this person. And it doesn't have to be that way. Because, you know, sometimes being alone is better than being with someone when that someone doesn't have your best interests at heart, right? So you have the High Priestess with the Two of Wands and the Lovers. And this is like, you do know, you do have an intuition and a deep inner knowing. You do have, you know, an alarm system that goes off within you of like, yeah, this person is worthy of an investment, or this is making me very nervous. This is causing me to feel chaos and conflict within me. This is making me feel insecure. And with the Two of Wands energy and the Lover's energy, these are both cards that speak about us, about choice. And the Two of Wands is also the demarcation of time between the past and the future. And the choices that we make that determine which path we're going on moving forward. Hey, honey, can you take the pig out in the hallway? Here, come out here, girlfriend. Take it out here. Yeah, take it out here. Where's the pig? You dropped it? Girl, you gotta play with that out there. It makes too much noise. And so on the bottom of the deck, you have the Page of Pentacles, which is talking about the spiritual lesson that you have learned, or that you're in the process of learning, when it comes to who the people are that you're trusting, and who the choices that you're making when it comes to listening to your intuition in love, when it comes to soulmates. It's not about being perfect or never making a mistake, right? It's about every experience is a learning tool. Yeah. So you have the Ace of Cups and the Four of Cups with the Seven of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. So there's this energy, you know, with the Four of Cups, there's always this energy of disappointment, of, you know, I feel let down by this situation. It seemed so promising, or I really wanted to fall in love. I really felt ready to fall in love. I felt like I had done the healing work. I felt like I was in a really good space, you know. But if you're letting someone in whose sole purpose is to mislead you, or kind of take you down a path that is really illusionary and not real to begin with, and they're really trying to keep you stuck, of course you're going to be disappointed. And there were feelings that you had. There was a conflict within yourself. There was something that made you feel like you were sacrificing a piece of yourself that you weren't totally sure you were ready to do, or that you wanted to do. There's something about that, with that conflict and chaos. All right, you guys. I don't know if you have... I don't know if I can even explain it. There's some kind of trickery here with this energy. There's a movie in the Hunger Games series called The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, or something like that. And I just saw it, and I don't want to give the plot away. I don't really know that energy of a snake charmer, how that works. But let's just say, right, that a snake charmer, they have the snake in the basket and their flute, right? Let's just say that it's trickery, that maybe the snake isn't real, or, you know, maybe the snake has been domesticated in some way, or, you know, like there's something illusionary about how the snake charmer lures the snake out of the basket. In other words, you're dealing with people who know what they're doing. And I think there is a part of you that is good and whole and has healed and is in an energy of really and truthfully offering love. But you're dealing with someone who comes appearing that way, but it's an illusion. And this is someone who really does know what they're doing. They're very adept at their skill. You know, they manage to hang out with snakes all day and not get bit. How does that happen? You know? And so you're this kind of unsuspecting person who's coming along, who's ready for a new situation, who's looking for a new situation, and who kind of comes across the wrong person. And instead of listening to your intuition and your instinct, you're like, I am actually just ready to fall in love. I'm ready just to kind of have this experience. And so there's this energy of kind of falling for the wrong person. And I feel like with the Two of Wands and the Lovers here, you're doing something different. The Lovers is a major arcana energy of choice. And it is also a deep understanding of what a soulmate is. And that, you know, we have soulmates, that just because you have that feeling when you meet someone of like, wow, I've known you in another life, or I feel something having met you that I don't normally feel with other people. That doesn't mean that this person isn't going to hurt you or that they're not coming into your life to teach you a lesson. It just may mean that your soul contract, you have a soul contract with this person and you recognize that. Can we avoid the suffering of a soulmate? We can. Because when we are able to stay grounded and to stay centered and to stay calm and to be the observer of the energy as it comes together, we don't fall for the tricks. We see them. We observe them. We see that someone isn't really showing up in a space of integrity. We see that someone is using a lot of flowery language and is leading us down a path with promises and hope, and it all seems so good. Sometimes maybe even too good to be true. We see it, and instead of overlooking it each time we see it, we listen. And let me tell you, that is a hard thing to do. I just met these two people. I was at a restaurant and with a friend, and we met these two people and they were talking to us. And when they came in, I noticed them, and I knew the energy was not anything that I wanted to mess with. You know what I mean? But like pretty much I am very friendly. My friends are all very friendly. And so we always end up, I make friends everywhere I go. And so do they pretty much. And, so my friend starts talking to them, and, I'm just sort of being the good friend that's there. And I can see so many times there are things that these people are saying where I'm like, these people have some serious issues. You know, they're projecting a lot of energy. And I can feel it, and I don't like it, but I'm trying to be the good friend. And anyway, like, we talked to them for a while, and the whole time am, you know, I never lose that feeling of conflict within myself of like, man, I can just tell. And it's so funny because you guys know I'm a Boston Celtics fan, and actually one of the people was wearing a Miami Heat jersey, and I really don't like the Miami Heat. And I live in Florida, and I've been to Miami several times, and I'm just not a huge fan of Miami, just in general. And so like that was even something, like it was just glaring in my face, like so obvious. And like I don't like to judge books by their cover or anything like that, but it wasn't that I was even judging that person by the cover. It was really the feeling that they were emanating, and they were angry people, you know, on the inside, and I could feel it. And I mean, they're just in so many ways, when you really listen to what people are saying, when you're the observer and you just kind of hang back and you listen, you can see, oh wow, you're really unhappy. Oh wow, you're really trying to impress me with your material stuff. Oh wow, you know, which is not, that's never, like, if that's your priority and that's what you think gives you worth, then you and I are not going to be on the same page. And it's just, there's like a lot of stuff. And, you know, I kept trying to diffuse the situation just for myself and just for, I don't know, the greater good. But anyway, they ended up really in the end insulting my friend. And they were just yuck. And, and my friend looked at me and was like, did you see that happening the whole time? Like, did you realize that that's who those people were? And I was like, absolutely. But she's single and she was seeing it as like, oh, maybe this is, you know, the person that I'm going to meet, you know what I mean? Or maybe this is someone and they're so friendly and I'm so friendly and I'm here with her and like, we are so cute together. People really like our energy, you know, like this is maybe like a really lucky, fortuitous thing. And it was not. It was just not. But you know, like sometimes you have to go down that path, but every time you ignore those things within yourself, every time, and I said to her, did you not hear this? Did you not hear this? Did you not hear this? Did you not? And she was like, oh, yeah. And I was like, is that in alignment with you? And she was like, no. And I was like, right. And she was like, oh, okay. You know, but there's such a deep desire within her. She's a very loving person. She's also a Libra. So it's like, you know, there's such a desire to want to love and be loved and to have that experience. And I get it. I understand the value of it. But when you are allowing, when you're just like dodging bullets and you're like, yeah, that's okay. Well, yeah, that's okay. Well, yeah, that's okay. And if I never call them out on it or I never comment on it, you know, then like, it's okay, you know, but it's like it's not. I mean, it's going to come out in bigger and bigger and bigger ways. Those are superficial things that are red flags that are telling you, hey, you know, be careful, watch out. And when you don't observe them and you only look for the good or the part that matches up with what you want. Because she said to me, yeah, but didn't you hear this? And didn't you hear this? And didn't you hear this? And she's a friend of mine who's also really into sports. And so for her, the jersey was kind of we probably have a lot in common, even though she's not a Heat fan. She was like, oh, we probably would get along really well. You know, da-da-da-da-da. So she was seeing all the things about the situation that held potential and possibility, and, you know, was kind of just dodging bullets. You know, she heard all the same things I heard. She felt the same way about them. You know, she lines up with me on those things. So, you know, but you know, and then it's like, you know, this was almost like a perfect stranger who ended up hurting her or like causing some suffering or at least some kind of like a little bit of mental anguish for a moment. And, you know, I was just like, you know, I don't know, just trying to be the friend. And I stayed with her even after, worked through the mental anguish part, had the whole conversation, that whole thing. But, you know, when we when we allow ourselves almost to be lured or to be lured in, kind of like the snake, right? Charmed by somebody, tamed by somebody, you know, where we're not sort of holding on to what's really important to us, and we're sort of overlooking the conflict and chaos that it's kind of creating in our lives or within us, where we're starting to feel insecure and we're not normally an insecure person, like all of those things. And I feel like this is your past. And I say this because with the Two of Wands, it feels like you have made a major decision. With the Lover's card, this is something major where you've said, not again. I won't be lured in by that. I won't allow myself to go down that path. I will pay attention to those things. I will listen to those things, and I will say, oh, okay, that's who you are. I accept that that's who you are. I have no need to change you. I have no need, you know, you're somebody's person. You're just not my person, at least not now, not in the way that you are. And I can accept that. And it was fun for that moment to see some kind of possibility, or to, you know, give it a chance. But now I'm able to walk away with that feeling. You know, it's like going to the mall with money in your pocket and knowing, like walking around being like, I could buy that, but I'm not buying it. You know, I'm not buying it because, you know, a week from now, am I still going to want it? A week from now, is it going to be bringing me joy? Do I need it? You know, I also, that same day, I saw the cutest coffee mug. Oh my gosh, you guys. First of all, I love coffee mugs. I have an entire cabinet of coffee mugs. I have like a major weakness for coffee cups and flip-flops. And, and I'm not really like that as a person. But I saw the most perfect coffee cup, and I just cleaned out my coffee cup cabinet so that, cause it really wasn't shutting properly. And so now everything fits perfectly. And I was like, oh man, if I buy this coffee cup, I have to get rid of a coffee cup because I don't have space for this coffee cup. But this coffee cup was so beautiful. It was so good. It was handmade. It was just, it was so good. The colors, the subject, oh my God, I loved it. Anyway, I didn't buy the coffee cup, but I really wanted to. And I could have afforded it. I could have bought it, but I didn't. I made that choice. And it's kind of the same thing. It's like, yes, I have the desire to be in a relationship, or I have the desire to like have this in my life. And I'm, may even be attracted to it. But, if I sit back and if I observe it, and if I just look at the big picture and I don't get sucked into looking for all the things that say, it's right, it's right, it's right. And I just sort of let the truth reveal itself. And I just sit here and remain grounded and centered and breathe. Is the picture that this is revealing to me one that is in alignment with me truly? Is this person projecting? I mean, because people they project a lot and we don't notice it. A lot of times we don't notice it. You got to be really present in the moment and living very consciously and mindfully and have your full awareness there to really see it. And you have to be in a state of wanting to observe the truth and not wanting to find what you want to see there. You have officially, Pisces, learned this lesson. And I feel like you have officially, you with you, made a decision to always listen and prioritize your intuition. And I think that is maybe even why we went through this cycle, or we had these experiences, is to come to this place, and you're there. You're ready. You are now ready for someone to come in who is dependable and who is ready to prioritize relationships and you. And if you're not, you're getting there. We're all on different timelines. Yeah, you got the World card, the closing of a cycle. Yes, look at that. Talk about Mr. Dependable. Oh my gosh, Pisces, seriously? You have the Sun and the Five of Wands with the King of Pentacles here. And, you know, the Sun, this is the energy of healing. This is the energy of clarity. This is the energy of understanding. And it is the energy of transformation with these butterflies. It's not about, you know, waiting to find someone perfect, but it is about, you know, really being willing to see who someone is and not sort of paint them in a different light than what they really are. You know what I mean? Because we all have a tendency to do that. I mean, not just with love, people in love, with friends, with a lot of people. And we have a tendency, a lot of us have a tendency, and I say us because me included, to put people on pedestals and to sort of overlook things. I've done it a million times. I'm right here with you. So you have this Five of Wands with the Sun card, and the Five of Wands is, you know, it's a blockage, and a lot of times it's a blockage within us, especially like around the heart chakra, that is preventing us from seeing something clearly, or preventing us from healing, or preventing us from being able to be in full alignment with our happiness or our purpose or our, you know, highest expression of our life. And it is reflective of this conflict and chaos. And so it's like you're now seeing from a different vantage point and from a very clear perspective what it is that has caused this conflict and this chaos for you in your life. When you see it, when you can clearly see it, when you bring your awareness to it, you have the potential to end it, because you see what it is that's causing this conflict. You see what it is that is stopping you from having this highest expression in your life, this thing that you really want, this clarity, this healing, this love, this energy of just pure joy and oneness with all that is. And it's some kind of conflict, or, you know, something within yourself. And once you see it, you can release it. You can let it go. And it looks like, Pisces, this is an energy that you're sort of maybe even in right now, where you're letting it go, and you have this King of Pentacles coming into your life. And this doesn't have to be a man or a woman. This is just someone who is very solid and stable, is moving from a very confident place, is ready for commitment, is ready to show up, shows up, and will take action on what they see that has value. Wow. Wow. Oh my God. So Pisces, okay. This, like I was saying with the Five of Wands, with the Ace of Wands in reverse, it's like, why aren't I getting this opportunity at this new beginning that I really desire? Why aren't I getting what I'm really looking for, what I really want? And with the Princess of Swords, this can be an aha moment. This can be a breakthrough where we're able to see something clearly about why nothing ever panned out or ever turned out to be the potential that you saw in it. And with the Queen of Swords, this is an energy of discernment. This is like the energy of lesson learned. Now I know, now I'm operating differently. Now I'm actually being the observer. I'm actually looking at things willingly, I'm looking at things through a lens where I'm still willing to cut it off, where I'm still willing not to pull the trigger at the mall, even though I can't afford the thing. You know, even though I have money in my pocket, there is a certain satisfaction when you walk away from something and don't buy it, that you know you can. It's like, that was my choice. That was my decision. That was my wisdom. That was my clarity. That was me understanding that something was off. Something wasn't right about it. or that making that choice was going to cause me to sacrifice something else that I love, and I'm not prepared to do that. You know, I don't have an emotional attachment to that thing, so let me just not bring it into my world where I would have to like give something else up that I care for in order to keep it, you know. And that can be your self-worth. That can be the peace in your life. That can be, you know, this feeling of being very grounded and centered. When something is right, when something is in alignment with you, it doesn't cause you to feel that chaos and conflict within yourself. So with this King of Pentacles, there's this Knight of Discs, and it kind of came out crooked. And then you have the Queen of Pentacles. And remember I said this King of Pentacles is somebody who's willing to take action on something that they see the value in. I feel, Pisces, personally, that this person is going to pursue you. And I feel like they're not going to pursue you in a super slow, moderated way. I think that this is someone who is seeing you and observing you and is like, no, this is the person that I want. You know, and could this be someone from your past? Could this be someone that you have a long history with? Absolutely. Could this be someone who wasn't able to show up for you in the past, who has sort of gotten themselves together, who has, you know, matured with the King of Pentacles energy? Absolutely. But you have the discernment, you have the wisdom now to see the difference and to be the observer and to be the awareness and to be willing to cut something off. And, you know, I feel like, yes, some of you have probably cut things off in the past and different things like that, but this is different. This is like, I am completely in the driver's seat, and it's not a, I don't know how to say this other than to say it's not a bitchy thing. And it's not a, I'm too good for this kind of thing. It's like, I'm going to let you show me who you are. And then, you know, I'm going to either let you in or I'm not. Because I understand and appreciate my own value and the value of my peace and my freedom from, you know, being hurt and suffering because someone isn't really ready to show up, or someone is feeding me an illusion. All right. Yeah, I see. The thing is with the Queen of Cups, which is, you know, that's a Piscean energy, you know, there is a value to your resource. There is a value to your ability to feel and to love and be loved. And you can't, you know, we want to just sort of give it to everyone, or like we wish the world was a place where we could, or where, you know, everyone was that type of person or everyone had that kind of energy. But we have to be realistic. Not everyone does. You know what I mean? Not everyone is trying to be healed. Not everyone is trying to love. Not everyone is trying to really deeply connect. Some people don't even know what love really is, you know, that we're walking around with here. And sometimes people, their priority is to be right, or that's not loving. Their priority is to be, you know, the richest man in the room. That's not loving. Their priority is to be, you know, have this reputation or that. That's not loving. You know, when your priority is, it literally says, you understand the paramount importance of manifesting love in all situations. You know, when you're there, then what I am offering you, you have the capacity to return to me. Like, we have the ability to have a fair and balanced situation. You know, one that isn't based on illusion, one that's based on integrity and the appreciation of my value and your value, which is what we're seeing. So it's like you don't see it yet, but there is some kind of karmic justice, or there is something coming in to equal out the scales in your life here, Pisces. And, you know, it can even be in the form of a person who's ready to come in and balance things out. For some of you, it could be a Libra. Others of you, it could be an earth sign. You do have, you know, a lot of pentacles here. And you have the High Priestess, could be another Pisces. You also had the Lover's card for Gemini. Could be anyone, right? You also have the Moon. Sometimes people think that's Cancer, but it's also Pisces. Yeah, so I feel like with the Moon card, a lot of you haven't met this person yet or haven't started down this path. Some of you may also be in a place where you're wondering if it will ever happen or if you will ever meet someone like this. I see this like worried energy in this space here on the Moon. It's kind of like, am I ever going to find my partner? Are they even out there kind of energy, I feel. Yeah, and especially with the Ten of Swords underneath that, it's like I've been through a really difficult cycle and I just don't want to keep going on it. You know, I want it to be over. I'm ready to end it. Yeah, you guys have the Four of Wands, which in this card, on this deck, it says completion on this card, which I always love because the Four of Wands really is that energy of where what you've been manifesting shows up. And with the Six of Swords, there's this energy, especially with the Five of Swords here. Whatever you've been worrying about, whatever you have, you know, kind of told yourself, maybe even about yourself, maybe you've even been beating yourself up for falling for someone who was a snake charmer. I don't know, I'm gonna just keep saying snake charmer because that is just such a vivid thing right there. But it's like you come to a place of peace with it. And you have to come to a place of peace with it to close out the cycle, for the cycle to completely close. You have to be at a place of peace with what happened back there, and that, you know, when you know better, you do better, and you did learn something, and it did bring you to a place where you made a choice and a strong decision, you, to not accept that kind of thing anymore, and to listen to your intuition, and to listen to and be willing to cut something off when someone revealed to you that they're a snake charmer. You know what I mean? It's like, that's the best you can do. You can't go back and undo what's been done, but at this point, you can say, okay, I accept that it's been done. I accept that, like, this is someone who trained to be good at what they're doing. You know, you're not the first person that you did it to, and unfortunately, you're probably not going to be the last, you know? And may they have developed feelings for you in the process? Absolutely. May they have, you know, whatever, absolutely. But until that person makes a decision within themselves in the same strength that you have with you, that they don't want to continue to do that's not bringing them the kind of life that they want to live and the kind of fulfillment and contentment that they're looking for, you can't do anything about that person making that decision. They have to make that decision for themselves the same way you made it for yourself, to not fall for that anymore, to listen to your intuition, to be the observer, to be the awareness. And so, you know, for some of you, I do feel like this is someone who, you know, may have fallen in love with you and may be coming back around to say, you know, I have, with the Justice card, made a decision. And I feel terrible. Like, it's almost as if sometimes some people don't realize the quality of person that they're getting, or the level of connection there, or the potential in the relationship, especially someone who's a snake charmer. They're just trying to charm snakes. They're not trying to fall in love. They're not looking for this. They're not looking for that. So, of course, they're going to treat the relationship that way. They're not going to treat it like they covet it and that they're taking care of it, and that they're, you know, because that's not what they're even getting into it for. You know, they're getting into it to relieve something that exists within themselves that's making them feel uncomfortable. And maybe if they can charm you, it will help them relieve that. You know, they're not looking at the bigger picture. They're not coming from a healthy place in that energy, right? And so, you know, if you give them the space and the time, and you make the promise, and you keep that promise to yourself, and you don't let this person in until they're in a different energy, then guess what? You have a chance. But it does require them to make the same kind of decision and promise to themselves that you've made to yourself. For a lot of you, though, this is a new person. I will just say, I really do feel like it. And with the moon card here, I feel like, you know, this is someone that you have not met yet. Or it is some kind of karmic justice that's coming in that you're not expecting, or that it's like you may even be giving up hope that you're going to find this person, and then boom, you know, the universe reminds you that anything is possible. Yeah. So with this Justice card, this is even saying to you, this can be, I mean, look, this Five of Discs card even says worry. But this is saying, like, this can be a return of a balancing out of the scales from a time where you were left out in the cold, or someone sort of abandoned you, or someone treated you less than the way that you deserve to be treated. And maybe it even got in your head, but then you've made this choice to let it go. You've made this choice to come to a place of peace with it, with the Six of Swords here, and the Seven of Cups is in reverse. And so there is something coming in to reward you for you mastering yourself here. You coming to this place of discernment and knowing that it's like, okay, I can't go back and turn back time and change what the decisions I made, or the fact that I went down that path. I can't go back and know what I know now and make a different decision there. But what I can do is I can start here, and I can make this promise to myself, and I can move forward, and I can honor that promise, and I can honor the lessons that I've learned, and the wisdom and the experience that I have gained from these experiences. And I can utilize it moving forward to kind of continuously take care of myself, or to like bring on myself only the things that are worthy of me. Or this can be a decision that someone from your past has made to balance out the scales, realizing that they just keep ending up alone, because that's what a snake charmer does. They come in and they charm and they leave. And it's like, you know, maybe there is a sense of satisfaction in knowing that you were able to charm someone, but ultimately, if you're still by yourself and that's not what you're wanting to be, then is there really a lasting satisfaction? Like, if I had bought the coffee mug, would there have been a lasting satisfaction knowing that I had to sacrifice another coffee mug that I already love, that I already have, that's doing a great job for me and has been for a while? You know what I'm saying? You know? So you have this Eight of Wands, Eight of Discs. They may be coming in to really deliver a very strong message with the Queen of Swords here. And they may know, or they may worry, like, how is Pisces going to react to me? With the Eight of Discs, it's like they're going to show you that they're showing up in a different energy, that they have been working on themselves, and that they have mastered parts of themselves that were out of alignment to begin with, right? All right, Pisces. Let me dive in and get you guys some messages. It is the celebration of my mother-in-law's life here for the next few days. And so I don't know if I will be able to do readings on those days. So just if you don't see me here, know that this is why. All right, you have the attraction you feel is mutual. Children are important to this partnership. It is safe to trust in this situation. I can't do this. Someone is undergoing a spiritual transformation. Unhealed wounds are blocking forward movement. Detach with love to clearly see the truth. If you're dealing with a fire sign, I still have feelings for you. One person is giving too much in this relationship. I daydream about a life with you, and I don't want to know. If you are dealing with an earth sign, I can't get enough of you. I feel so drawn to you. I won't let you down. I don't know why this happened. Addiction, and addiction is affecting this relationship. It can also be, you know, toxic relationship tendencies. Okay, you're getting strictly sexual. This is if you're dealing with an air sign. See, this is kind of an energy I get, is that, like, if someone would have known that this connection was going to be, you know, so meaningful or so important to them, you know, it's like they came in like a snake charmer. They weren't even looking for it. They weren't even, you know, but it's like for some of you, I feel like there was an accidental falling in love that happened. And it may be, especially if you're dealing with an air sign. Okay, I know I messed up everything. See, clear your energy field and focus on yourself before acting. I feel so happy with you. I know I was a distraction from your pain. I'm in a committed relationship. I compare others to you. I hide behind material things. I still feel the pain. I feel you even though we are apart, and I don't want to let you go. All right, Pisces, this is what I have for you today. I really hope it helps. I feel like you guys have a major potential soulmate relationship coming in here. And I feel like you're in a different zone when it happens. I feel like you're in a different level of awareness, and you're allowing it to be exactly what it is and enjoying it in that way. Yeah, it's like no pressure kind of energy. All right, this is what I have for you. I really, really do hope that it helps. Until next time, which may be a few days from now, I can't say for sure. I'm sending you off with all my very best. Always, always lots of love to you guys. Bye-bye.